Young Reporters Disclaimer. Before we get started, a quick note. The views and opinions you'll hear on the Young Reporters are just those of the producers, our guests, and our friends, and don't represent the policies or official views of the Orin Edson Entrepreneurship plus Innovation Institute. And remember, the Young Reporters podcast is for entertainment purposes only.
Matchmaker Communications 101, in collaboration with Arizona State University's Edson Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute, presents The Young Reporters. The Young Reporters chase down ordinary people doing amazing things in the greater Phoenix community and beyond. These inner-city young journalists take their classroom on the air, a class about ethics, commitment, loyalty, and teamwork. When you're on The Young Reporters, be prepared to talk about things you never expected. And now, let's go into the classroom. We're back in the classroom once again with The Young Reporters, and I'm looking over to my right, and I'm watching Cal Pooler mouth the words to the intro. I love it, Cal. You've known like by heart, right?
It's nice to be back in the studio. It's been about 13 years, but some things are just ingrained into you. You can't get rid of it.
It's great to have you back here. Cal is one of our original. People always ask me. We do these shows. We put them out. We explain it every week, and I keep saying, we're going to have kids again. We're going to have kids. We just need a school system to cooperate with us to give us some kids. But we've got one of our original Young Reporters back, Cal Pooler. So this is a real big thrill for me, Cal. It's like a reunion show in many different ways. And so without doing a full intro yet, the reunion continues because on the left side of the table, we've got Courtney Balsam Kelly, who used to be our studio technician at KFNX 1100 for a number of years, back in the old days of doing the show on old-fashioned broadcast radio. So it's great to have Courtney back with us. It's like a full reunion with you too, Courtney. And we always knew that this talented person behind the booth, that she's going to go places. So you've gone places. Yeah, I'm serious, Courtney. We never lost touch with each other, but again, this is the first time I've seen you in how many years?
I know. I think it's been, I don't know, almost 10 years, I'd say.
Almost 10 years.
Yeah. I'm excited to be here, but it's definitely weird being on this side of the microphone.
Well, it's again, we're going to get into all the detail of why that might be weird for you, but one of the nicest things you ever said to me back, you said it many years ago, and it's like we're saying it's like a long time since we've seen each other, but Courtney would tell me that I'd ask her every once in a while on the air because she was doing the kids show. And so she watched all of our shows for a couple of years at least. How many years were you doing at KFNX?
Like one or two. So
yeah, and that was while you were in graduate school or something, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'd say, Courtney, how does this compare to, like, what do you think of the kids? And Courtney, I don't know if you remember what you told me. Do you remember it all? I can tell you.
No, I don't. I'm a little nervous.
So I we'll get you over that real quick. No, that's all right. So I would say, Courtney, what do you think about this? She said, well, this is really great. The kids are great. And she says, these kids are getting more studio time than we ever got at the Cronkite School. Now I say that only because we got a couple Cronkite people in the studio with us today. So there's all these cross-connecting dots. We've got John Dacey is with us, and John has been a big-time lawyer for many years, and John is very into the principle of for-profit prisons. So John has always specialized in his law firm in terms of the little bit I've read about John, a few things I picked up when I've met with John, is he's always seemed to have a heart for certain types of things. We'll find out a little more of that. But John, just briefly, give us an intro to your nonprofit related to the for-profit prisons.
So the Arizona nonprofit is called Abolish Private Prisons. It's a 501c3 charity and a public interest law firm.
So what is it? What have you? And you've done this for a number of years, right?
Yeah, we created Abolish Private Prisons in 2015 as a legal entity. We needed a vehicle to raise money. to do the work that we do.
So it's only been since 2015 there's been for-profit prisons, is that correct?
No, that's when Abolish Private Prisons, our nonprofit, was founded.
Okay, there we go. And I'm starting to hear his
the-
microphone a little bit better, Alan. That's working a little bit better.
But private prisons started in the early 1980s.
There we go. So they've been around for a long time.
Yes.
And so we'll get into more detail on that. Courtney Balson, Kelly, you've moved on from KFNX days to where you got your graduate degree at Cronkite, is that right?
Yeah, both my undergrad and my graduate degree from the Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication. I have a graduate degree in business journalism, which was a partnership with WP Carey.
And so you got a good combination of business and communications, obviously.
Yes. Yeah.
And so let's make the announcement official. What's your current role right now?
Yeah, I am the Director of Strategic Communications and Media Relations for the Sandra Day O'Connor College of Law at Arizona State University.
And congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's a big deal, and and this is relatively recent that you've been elevated to the top position in that particular.
Yeah, I've been elevated at the end of last year in December, but I've been in my role for about 2 years.
And so what is that? What's the role specifically? What's your role day to day? What are you mostly doing?
Yeah, so I'm part of a team of 10, a marketing, communications, and event team for the law school specifically. We help oversee the visibility and the strategic initiatives to help increase enrollment, make the law school look desirable for students, and then to really amplify all the amazing things that the law school is up to in the community and for legal education in general.
I was noticing just read up a little bit. I was noticing that for a state college, state university, it's unusual to be a top-rated law school. I is my understanding from what I read. So ASU ranks pretty high up, especially amongst state university law schools. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, we're one of the top public law schools in the country, and we really pride ourselves in that. And we have such amazing programs. And we have a lot of clinics, legal clinics, where our students are lead attorneys, but we're also serving the community as well for free or low-cost legal services.
So is that what the clinics are, basically? They service the community mostly?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So they service, and you name the category or what?
Yeah, we have 10 different specialty areas. We have a First Amendment clinic. We have a post-conviction clinic, so helping those who have, recently got out of our prison systems, and all sorts of interesting legal matters that our students face.
And how many and these are mostly students involved in the clinics?
Yeah, the students are the lead attorneys. We do have supervising attorneys, of course, who are licensed and barred, overseeing everything. But yeah, the students get working experience.
This is real casework experience.
Real casework.
So
experience.
if it's something to do with prison, they're working in the receiving areas of the prison or whatever. They're actually doing that.
Oh yeah,
direct work.
they're absolutely doing that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Bella, I wanted to bring you in the conversation right now. Bella, you also were, if I'm not mistaken, a graduate from the Cronkite School. Am I correct?
Yes, I graduated May 2024.
Tell us a little bit about your experience at the Cronkite School. What your background is, and were you specifically in the communications area or what?
I think my degree is journalism and mass communication, and then I ended up focusing on public relations and sort of pivoting a little bit more into digital audiences and digital marketing.
And talk about that, because Bella and I met 2 weeks ago for the first time, and Bella she's amazing, and she's a lot of fun, and she kind of saved my day that day because I was going over to where she's currently working, and it was a little bit hard to find the place, and it was a little bit hard to get in the place when I ran into the barking dog noise and all the other stuff. I'm thinking, I better be careful here if I want to keep my leg attached. But anyway, Bella was nice enough to let me in and give me a tour around, and so it went from being a few minutes of waiting around to just the most magnificent meeting I've had in quite a while. Because Bella, she is a real excellent communicator, and another one of the visionaries that we deal with. So tell us a little bit about your current. And we had Alan, we had some of Bella's co-team members in the studio 2 weeks ago. So Bella, bring us up to date on Startup Arizona, or Startup Central, excuse me.
Yeah, so Startup Central is a accelerator for startups.
What does that mean, accelerator?
So basically, if you have an idea, you have a concept, you have a project, regardless of the stage that it's at, you can take it, bring it to us at Startup Central. We have an R&D facility. It's about 6,000 square feet, and we have an industrial manufacturing floor. So what we do is we take your idea, we work with you, our team internally, and we find resources and other support that you might need to make your prototype if you haven't hit that stage yet, and just get your product going and off the ground, and maybe find some outside contracts. But it's all about accelerating people who have ideas and maybe don't have access to the space or the resources that they need beyond what you can fit within a garage, for example.
And so people like Cody, Cody's last name was, I can't remember, Martin? Was
Brown.
it? Brown, excuse me, Cody Brown. He was basically a kind of a garage guy originally, right? He's got a lot of his innovative ideas just came out of his garage. And so Cody is now one of the key players in the team. You're one of the key players in the team, and most of those people were in our studio a couple weeks ago. So you literally can take people right from their garage and put them into a better working space, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the concept of Startup Central?
Yeah, 100%.
If
yeah.
you don't mind me interjecting a little bit, Bob, how and I don't want this to be like nice to meet you, and here's an aggressive question. How do you make money?
So I make money from, we get investors. So we recently had an angel investment, and I get a paycheck, and all of us do, every 2 weeks through Startup Central. That is one of my main jobs. That's my main job right now. I'm also a product developer at Boring Mattress Company. We're working on expanding our mattress lineup right now, so I've been doing market research there. But yeah, that's kind of how I pay the bills.
What is your pricing structure for startups that you're working with? Because everyone has to have some type of a working capital.
Yeah, so right now, I mentioned that R&D facility, and it's only 6,000 square feet, so it's pretty small. But the goal with this facility right now is to bring in those other startups. So right now we have a group called Skyborn Aero, and they pay us rent monthly. And then in exchange for that rent, they get access to our whole facility, all of our machines. Cody actually helped them custom build like a custom CNC to cut carbon fiber, which was really interesting because that was part of their prototype.
Just to communicate to people, the CNC means what? The computer numerical something or other machine. It's very complicated machinery. It's phenomenal machinery that's computer dictated, basically. We have to go to a commercial break here. We'll take a little break for just a couple minutes here. We are the Young Reporters. We got a couple other people to get introduced here. I'm Bob Fishman, along with Cale Pooler, Bella Dortch, John Dacey, Courtney Balsam Kelly, and Alan Repa, who we haven't gotten to yet, but we will. So stay with us. We'll be right back after the short break. We're back in the studio here at ASU SkySong. We're thrilled to have this opportunity with SkySong. We're working in collaboration with Arizona State University's Edson Entrepreneurship and Innovation Institute, and it's such an honor. It's a beautiful facility here, and we're trying to help Edson in particular, and maybe ASU in general, to break some of the silos that it's such a big university doing magnificent stuff. They are number one in the country in innovation, and they've been doing that innovation number one for about 15 years running. They have excellent law school for a public law school. I'm just reading up on this stuff. Everything ASU does seems to be targeted at innovation and excellence, and so the fact that we're able to do this in the studio is quite a compliment to us, too. We take this as an honor that we're able to collaborate with ASU Edson and be able to do this, and we really appreciate the strength of our guests that come in the studio to make this show happen. Cal, we haven't really gotten to you. I want you to describe, I'll do a tiny bit of description. When I first met Cal as a 13-year-old or 11-year-old or whatever it was back back in Starshine Academy days, when you were a student at the school, and you were sort of thrust into my class by one of your teachers that said you'd be really good at doing the radio prep work, and so I've known you for quite a while. Tell us a little bit about your current work journey, okay? So that the people in the studio get an idea. By the way, we mostly care. Yes, if there's anybody out there listening, that's nice, but we really mostly care about the people in the studio because they showed up just like we always told the kids.
Oh, we absolutely care about our listeners. Also, they
Well,
showed up. We care, Bob.
When they're there.
Be discriminatory.
So tell me about your current life when it comes to work. Because our other guests want to know. Okay?
You know, and it'll probably thrill you to hear it too. I still do exactly this for a living, but I just do it in a different format. So
you do what for a living when you say that?
I go into glass rooms full of people. I have no idea what's going on, and I just figure it out by the end of it. And sometimes I'm victorious, and sometimes connections just get missed, or it wasn't a match, or whatever it is.
So what's the victory you're talking about?
Specifically, my my main job that I have, my 9 to 5 or whatever you want to call that. I work in medical device sales in the aesthetics end. So I help small scale clinics or spas maximize with their clients to kind of bridge a medical device that can match between in-spa experiences, treatment plans, and at-home maximal results to target aging or whatever it is that their main source of concern is at the source of it versus overly selling them moisturizers and creams. And financially, it maxes out on both ends too. Like everyone gets to make more money and everyone has more fun this way.
How did you get started in this?
I got started in this by just working in cosmetic sales, beauty sales, like those kiosks that sell lotions and whatnot. But I was 18 and 19 and I watched unknowingly an entire industry evolve. And I guess I grew with it because I grew up also in that industry with skills that I learned here on these tables of how I can go into a room and just dissect somebody.
And when you're talking about learning, you're talking about as the young reporter in a studio.
Correct.
You're talking about,
Yeah.
You were
So
you were phenomenal at this, Cal.
I appreciate it, but it's the same assets that children right next to me learned here that I'm utilizing inside of rooms today and just working crowd. And I don't know who these people are, but you have to figure it out.
And mostly, I assume you're talking about the process of asking a lot of questions,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And figuring out what matters, staying attentive. And that's also why this is a really cool meeting, because in general, from what I'm realizing is happening here in this table, it's really a match for ASU Edison. It's just a bunch of innovators that are sitting here in this table. And we maybe don't have a lot of listeners, but if we do, we love you. You probably smell
we do.
nice.
If we have them, we love them. That's right.
Exactly.
And I
care
love
about
your
them.
positivity. What are you saying,
I
Courtney?
said, and we care about them too.
We do care about them. We
Well,
do.
and our Emmy Award-winning Grammy, Alan Repa, who we haven't really brought in yet. Alan is a major force in lots of different things, and you'll all be interested to hear. Alan is a sensational smooth jazz musician. He is a composer. He's an orchestrator. His music was played on Air Force One when Bill Clinton was president. So his music was played on 26 or 27 airlines. Alan is also a luxury real estate guy who sort of has a unique following in that area, built out of Paradise Valley primarily. Alan is also really into flying. So Alan for many years was part of the Commemorative Air Force, and helping them to do the things they do, mostly locally around the country as well. Alan, or what?
They do go on tour, but I couldn't go because the minimum tour was 14 days, and I have so much the things going on here. I couldn't go for 14 days, so I did the shows here at Luke Air Force Base and the different regional area around Arizona. But I had opportunity to go on tour, but I just couldn't go.
We joke about Alan's awards, but Alan is really an award winner, at least one or two at very least. I mean, Rocky Mountain West was it? I always get this wrong, but is it an Emmy for? What was the Rocky Mountain?
I got nominated for an Emmy for a commercial I did for against child abuse for the Child Crisis Center, and then I got 2009. It was for advanced media motion graphic designer. I got the Emmy for that.
And so now you're becoming like an award-winning, about to be podcaster, right?
In post-production, you'll see this wall. I put all my awards on that wall there, and we're running out of space. So I just put it where I went to their new title, just Maestro.
Yeah, just
I think it's in it.
Alan, actually, he's called the mayor of the McCormick Ranch Walkway because he just by walking on the walkway and doing whatever he was doing, he became a cult leader. Basically, he got a following of McCormick Ranch walkers.
It's so funny. I went out for a walk one day, and then I get all these followers, and then I go to the coffee shop to get coffee, and then I get all these coffee drinkers.
And then that kind of led to somebody talking about podcasts, and Al and I've been talking about podcasts during the years, John, when we were shut down. When we were shut down from radio because it was just too dangerous for a while, and we couldn't get kids in the classroom, whatever. But Alan and I have been having conversations, Alan leading those conversations about the idea of podcasting, and one day we'll get back to doing something. Yeah, go ahead, Alan.
I just want to say one thing. Because of this podcast, Paula
Hartley. Right?
Yeah, so this thing, I'm really excited about that.
She's the principal dancer. She's been the principal dancer for Ballet Arizona. She's part of our team.
Yeah, and then she's going to have the show at the Orpheum in November. She's bringing ballerinas from all over the world, and they're going to be dancing to 10 to 12 minutes of my music, which is
That's going to be great.
Really cool.
I can't wait to see that show and hear your music in that. Let me go back to Bella for a minute here. Bella, when you were at the Cronkite School, picturing your future, what were you picturing at that time, and how has it played out, and how is it different from what you pictured back then?
Yeah, when I first started, I wrote for the state press, and I kind of envisioned myself being a digital journalist or maybe a multimedia reporter. That was the path I started to go down, and then about halfway through college, Cronkite, they ask you to do an internship. And halfway through college, I took a digital marketing class, and I really enjoyed it. And then I found myself lucky enough to get this internship for a company called Neighbor, and they're an outdoor furniture startup. The team from Tuft & Needle, if you know them, they broke away and they started this outdoor furniture company. And that was my first internship, first ever like professional experience, and I was doing social media and marketing for them for a summer over 2022. And it was just a really enjoyable experience. The team was amazing. It was also my first startup, kind of opened up the door for what ended up coming later. So I would say my vision definitely changed. It evolved over time as I went to school through the experiences that I was given and was lucky enough to receive.
And so where's again, just as you keep moving forward, and now you're at Startup Central probably for, if it was the old days, Alan, I'd be saying probably for the rest of our life, because people used to approach life like this is what I'm going to be doing for a long time. But in your world, you never know what's going to happen next, right? I mean, it's just you do what you do, and then if you change your mind or if whatever happens. But so what's your really down to the what are you driving at in your role with Startup Central? Which Startup Central is like a sort of a Silicon Valley type of a company with some ex-Silicon Valley people who are in your leadership team, and you guys. Without revealing a lot of information, Bella, if you want to talk about your current targets, include things like working with drones, that sort of defense industry aimed at the moment. So if you want to talk about what your vision and what your path is to help contribute to your team, give us a little bit of idea on it, okay?
Yeah. So you mentioned the drones. That would be tied to one of the companies that we're accelerating that is internal. So it was started by Orin, who was here a couple weeks ago.
Orin is great.
Yes.
A great guy.
He's wonderful. He also has a couple dogs that he brings into the office there.
Those are the dangerous dogs, right?
Yeah, those are the dogs you heard.
Yeah.
They're great. But yeah, Orin started this company, Defense Company One, and they are a proactive, it's sort of a passive detection type of defense. So rather than it being a weapon or something along those lines, all of us have gotten together and decided we want to be more proactive and less focused on that end of things. So
this is kind of current in a way, because we're talking about in the news right now the company Anthropic, which I think you guys are in the AI world as well, if I'm not mistaken. But Anthropic is sort of dealing with the conflicts of how their AI is going to be used, and it's very active in the news these days. So you guys might be facing some of those same questions about how your skills are going to be used. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. And we've been very, very careful to be very responsible, both like just individually, to recognize that wherever this really ultimately what happens is whatever the product, whoever's hands it falls into, it's up to them and it's up to us to ensure that we're setting up the right pipeline so that it's not, falling
and
into.
A lot of your leadership, we're going to have to go to a break here in just a minute again, but a lot of your leadership, or some of your leadership has been involved. They're ex-veterans. I think Orin is an ex-veteran, if I'm not mistaken. And some of their company has experienced homelessness, for example. So they talk openly about the fact of being at the highest of the heights and the lowest of the lows. And that's part of our mission here, too, is we're hoping to do variations of the Young Reporters with homeless populations, veteran populations, so forth. We are the Young Reporters, the older version. I'm Bob Fishman, along with a wonderful panel here. We'll be right back after a short break. Stay with us.
welcome back to the Young Reporters. My mic is on, correct? We can all hear me? That's phenomenal. I'm Kale. Wow, it's 13 years, and I'm reintroducing myself here onto our next segment. I'm here with Bob Fishman, Alan Ripa. That's really
Ripa.
nice. Ripa. That's a really nice last name.
It's Italian.
We've got Bella, we've got Courtney, and we have you're John Dacey, right? I really thought so. You look more like the Alan around here. Anyways, so we were just leaving off a little bit on something about drones and defenses, but I had actually different questions for Bella than regarding to drones and defenses. So your warehouse, your production space, you said you have internal companies. Is there one internal company that you're working with on that, or are there multiple internals and externals?
And they are in transition, Kale. They're about to move, it sounds like, into a very big facility.
Yeah, I'm really curious to know in what direction you're pushing this, because I don't think there are other things like this specifically in the greater Phoenix Valley. I've heard of similar concepts scattered around the U.S., but nothing here in the Valley.
Yeah, that's a great question. So our goal, yes, thank you, Bob, it is to eventually move into a new, larger facility, and we have one that we're planning to lease out. It's 66,000 square feet. And then our main revenue, kind of circling back to the question that you asked, will be monthly memberships from those people who come in, and we accelerate them, and then also those who want to be involved in our co-working space as well.
How much do you estimate? I mean, are most people using the same amount of spacing, so it's just fair pricing across the board, or how do you structure that?
Yeah, so it's different tiers. I believe the co-working tier is $99, and then it scales up by $100 to the top tier, which is $399. And in the top tier, you have full access around the clock to our industrial manufacturing floor, co-working space, and our artist area.
Okay, what does that mean? What do I get for $400 a month?
Yeah.
What do I get?
Yeah, so you would get access to all of the machines, which is like a CNC, a tool mill, saw, a bunch of stuff for sanding. Whatever you can imagine that you want to create, you could likely make it with us. Metalworking equipment, stuff like that.
I was asking Bella 2 weeks ago, because with you in mind, Kale, about if they're possibly going to have a clean space, and that's probably to be determined, right, Bella? I don't know if you've been able to address that yet, but Kale might be interested in a clean space where you can do some manufacturing of cosmetics, for example, or something like that. So, and I guess you need a clean space, right, Kale? You got to have some.
You got to have a lot of stainless steel inside of that room, and a lot of Lysol, and a lot of big vats, and big jugs, and huge mixers, and all kinds of things.
So let me move on for 1 second back to Courtney. Courtney, now that you're in charge of the communications aspect, is that basically the sum of you're sort of running the communications aspect of the law school, the Sandra Day O'Connor Law School? Is that the best way to put it?
Yeah, so I oversee the strategic communications, and that entails emails, social media, media relations, storytelling, getting our story out there.
One of the reasons I was really interested in having you here today with Bella in the studio is I think they're going to be dealing with a lot of people who are going to probably need a lot of legal instruction, advice. I think there's a really good match between you two guys just on that alone. The fact that you're both Cronkites people, the fact that you're both really good at...
I watched him on TV.
You watched who on TV?
Cronkite.
Thank you, Alan. That's pretty. Yes, well, that's who the school is named after. Yes, Walter Cronkite. And so, just like I'm assuming John Dacey, that ASU Gamage might be named after one of the people that your firm was named after. It might not have been Grady Gamage, but it was some Gamage, right?
It was named after Grady Gamage
Is that right?
Sr.
And Grady Gamage Sr., was he one of the original presidents of Arizona State, or is that?
Yes.
I just read up on that too.
And
So
my law partner was his son.
that was his son. So there's a lot of cross connections here. John, as a practicing, formerly in a Gamage and I can't remember the last name for your partner.
Gamage and Burnham.
Gamage and Burnham, now is running your nonprofit. You one of your goals, I know, at least a couple of years ago, last time we got together, was you have a case you want to take to the Supreme Court. Is that still in the range of your thinking?
We had one. We decided after the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals not to take it further at that point.
Why?
We didn't like the posture of the case and who's sitting on the court.
So you're waiting for a different timing.
Yes.
And so let me make this relevant. Stay on your microphone, John, because we're losing your voice a little bit. So currently, my guess is that we stay non-political, and we don't go heavily religion, but if we're dealing with lawyers, if we're dealing with politicians, we ask the questions. So with the current circumstance, would you be considering immigration detention centers in the ballpark of private prisons?
So absolutely. More than 90% of immigrant detainees are in these for-profit prisons.
And so,
But I'd like
Go
to
ahead.
back up
Yeah,
if
sure.
I could a little
Sure, go
bit.
ahead, yeah.
Hopefully the name of our nonprofit describes our highest priority.
And what is the name?
Abolish private prisons.
abolish private prisons.
Not reform them, not limit them, get rid of them.
And I've heard your theory about that in the past. You say, if I'm getting you right, that constitutionally, private prisons shouldn't even be allowed. Is
That's
that
our
correct?
view, yes.
Because you're saying the Constitution, that would be a governmental duty. Is that right?
We
Say-
believe there are some things that only government should do. And incarcerating the most fundamental deprivation of liberty is one of them.
And so any version of that you feel is not unconstitutional potentially.
Well, if I could back up a little bit, when I'm talking about private prisons, I'm talking about when the government turns over its sovereign power to lock people up to private corporations.
And
Not talking about the private food vendor or the private medical care contractor or the construction company. We're talking about the actual incarceration function.
And so constitutionally, the difference would be that you're depriving somebody of his liberty. What's the difference then in terms of when the government can hand functions over to private? For example, there's probably a number of governmental functions, like you just named, food service or something like that, that becomes a legitimate handoff to somebody, right?
Oh, sure. If you're going to build a highway, private contractors, public-private partnerships are understood. Most of my career concerned the state's Medicaid program, which is a public-private partnership as well. But there are some things, in our view, national defense, public elections, incarceration function, that should be the government's role.
And
There shouldn't be a profit incentive to lock people up and to keep them in prison.
And so in the current circumstance, by abandoning or by holding off on your case or leaving it with the circuit out of San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken, right? That's what the
Yeah, if I
Ninth
could
Circuit.
explain.
Yeah, go ahead.
In 2020, we filed our first lawsuit.
Okay.
We represented people incarcerated in private prisons in Arizona. There's 12 of them in Arizona. And we represented the NAACP, the Arizona State Conference, as our clients. The challenge was the very constitutionality of the existence of private prisons.
And did that
The
get
court rejected
they did,
our complaint, and we appealed it to the United States Ninth Circuit, which is one court
Gotcha.
under the U.S. Supreme Court.
Gotcha.
We're very disappointed and disagree with the rulings, but we have to learn from it before we file our next case.
And did you pull your appeal back from the Ninth Circuit then?
No, we argued it, and we got a final decision on it.
And it
and
didn't go your way, or
it did not.
Okay. So
But-
your next step would be the Supreme Court then, is that right?
The next step would be filing similar cases in other federal circuits
Okay.
and state courts.
Okay.
But we're working policy mostly right now, coalition building and policy.
Courtney, I'm just curious as to, with your role in the Sandra Day O'Connor, John, you were a graduate of ASU Law School, right?
1977, yes.
So you're a pro of the school that she's that she's communicating for on behalf of. So Courtney, I was interested in getting John, knowing that you were coming here today, in terms of how would your role play in or around what John is pursuing now with his nonprofit?
Well, I think that's an interesting question, and it's definitely something I would have to learn more about. But yeah, it sounds like a very important issue, and I have heard about privatized prisons. But yeah, we highlight our alumni and our stories, and bring attention to those kind of issues.
And so, and you're I know I don't want to overstate, you're digital media as well as just any kind of media. Is that right?
Oh yeah, I mean the majority of media nowadays is all digital.
It's all digital. And so it's your obviously, this is not a controversial position. Nobody's seeking controversy, but you because you're dealing with law school, I'm sure there's a lot of controversy in and around just dealing with the law school.
Here and there, yeah.
Not that you seek it out.
No, never.
Okay, good. That's we try to be a neutral thing here, out of respect for ASU as an institution, for the Edson Institute, and so we like to expose, get people's what they do, get it out in public, get people to know each other, and that's basically my boundaries in general. Is that we want people of varying opinions to get to know each other, to get to like each other, and be able to have conversations without having to have arguments. That's our principal role. We are the older version of Young Reporters. We've got one more segment on the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break. We're back at ASU Sky Song with our last segment for the show. I'm Bob Fishman, along with Cal Pooler, Alan Ripa, Bella Dorch, Courtney Balson Kelly, and John Dacey. And we were ending up the last segment learning about the private prison issue that John has had a court case that is sort of sitting on the sidelines for now. But I want to get back to the younger person's view in the street. We are going younger as a group. We have a lot of experience in our group, but I'm thrilled with the idea that we're getting people like Cal, who you're just turned 29, Cal?
I'm not 30.
Not okay.
Not 30.
He's just under 30, and we've got Bella, who's a very a highly accomplished, but only a 24-year-old. Is that right, Bella?
Yep.
And
yeah.
Courtney, I don't want to pin it down, but you're in that same. 30s.
I'm not 30.
You're not 30 either. That's great. So we're almost at the young version of the Young Reporters. We're almost there. Alan, you and I and John don't qualify as the youngest reporters, but we're hanging in there. So back to Bella, Courtney, and Cal. All this move that you guys have lived through with, you basically have grown up with the internet. You've grown up with the possibility of social media, the reality of digital media, and all this. So your life is very different in the start of your lives than our lives were like. And so it's hard to do a comparison, I know, but so what is it about digital media that is so attractive to people your age in particular? And I realize there's a social media component to it, but what is so special about it? And by the way, the flip side of it is all of a sudden most of your generation seems to be coming back to the idea of the importance of face-to-face communications again. So describe the before recognizing the need for face-to-face, and now the big comeback to the desire for face-to-face conversation.
Can I put a little input on that? So to give you a bit of insight on why I think the digital advertising is like just really a cool space.
And you're talking about advertising now, right?
Well, digital marketing, digital advertising, all of this it's in the same package, and it's personalization. That's really what that is, because with digital marketing, you can really find who your client is by pulling in through masses, and then you have so many analytics that you can work with. It's really cool, actually. And then in face-to-face, it's required in more personal situations. Like selling something to somebody, you can figure out who they are with keywords, hot topics, and seeing who clicks, who stays, and who refreshes. It's just that simple. All of that's tracked. But person to person, you can break different types of limitations. It's hard to sell a $7,000 bracelet over the internet.
But basically, I guess part of what I'm asking is, if you're only doing social media, if you're only doing digital life, you start paying a price in your personal life, don't you? If that's all you're doing is digital experience.
I don't know. You pay a price in your personal life for everything.
Yeah.
Alan, you had a comment.
I just wanted to add, because I'm using AI a lot, and I just did a promotional ad for a company, international beauty company, and she wanted me to take a picture of her shop and then put people in there, and looking at the products. And then she has this beauty product, and she wanted a gal like a Polynesian type in Hawaii in a cabana, putting on this. It's called shea butter. And using this product. And so I was able to create this whole scene on just a still picture, put people in her shop, and then this cabana in Hawaii, you see the ocean in the background, and the girl is stunning that I came up with, and she's putting on this product, and the owner flipped when she saw it, because it would have cost thousands to put that together, and then a month, to try to arrange everything. And with the AI, it's allowing you to be able to create whatever you imagine.
Yeah.
And it's really stunning. It's really exciting for me to be in that space, especially for the
So
real
is that
estate.
like a new space that you're focusing in? It's in video creation?
Alan's
'Cause
very
I know
good.
that that's-
Alan's very he's very forward thinking in that, Cal. He's
Yeah.
right up your alley in terms of he's like you. He knows how to get the analytics and use the analytics. He's very good at that.
But Alan, is that something that you focus on right now? It's AI generation specifically. Like, is that?
I started the AI last summer, and I primarily was doing it to learn it to do for my real estate. And so I was designing, I designed mansions, and then I did one on kitchens, like 10 different styles of kitchens. But now it's covered into where people see what I'm doing, and they're hiring me to do it for their businesses.
What platform are you using to generate with?
So I create the vision paragraph, and then I'll go into ChatGPT and I'll refine it in there.
Correct.
And then I go into another one that's called Envato. And Envato, it depends on how it reads it.
Bella, you're shaking your head at that. What is it about that relate to what he's talking about? What is it you're recognizing?
Well, we use Envato sometimes at Startup Central, and it's one of the most advanced tools. Like it does really great video and image creation, which it sounds like you've seen for
So
yourself.
Bella, what are you
Runway
using
too.
that for? What are you using it for specifically for Startup Central? That's what I'm interested in. I'll get back to my original question, but so when you're using Envato for Startup Central, and you're the marketing person doing that, what is it you're trying to do?
Yeah, so on the marketing team, it's me and then Corbin. Corbin is kind of his specialty is sort of generative AI with videos, but he does a lot of video production. And what we'll do is we'll use it as like a B-roll cut in our marketing videos. So if we don't have a video of something, we'll use the AI. We do prefer, usually if we have our actual in-house content, we'll go with that first. But sometimes you need to fill something in, or there's a situation like what you're saying, we can't access it.
I spoke with him.
Quick. Oh, go ahead.
I spoke with him about that when he was here, when we went out after, and it sounds like whoever's the head of that department, he said he wanted me to meet him because what we're creating, we're using the same tools. And then there's a problem with where you're trying to get the AI to do something and it won't really get it. So what I'll go do is build it in Photoshop. I'll get the scene that I'm envisioning fixed in Photoshop, then I'll bring that into Envato and say, based on the uploaded photo, to create this, and then it'll take it from there and make more of what your vision is.
Courtney, what are you doing digital media-wise that relates to your mission with the ASU Sandra Day O'Connor School?
Yeah, we're doing all sorts of digital initiatives. Of course, we use AI. We embrace AI.
And you're using it to do what?
Oh, I mean, to help organize information, to help plan ahead, sometimes to help with copywriting, or at least to start with a base. Sometimes for image generation, but we do flag that it is AI when it's...
And so your big mission as media and communications for Sandra Day O'Connor is to get more students in the law school, to get the word out about the law school. What is your primary drive? What is your primary thing that you're doing?
Yeah, always to increase enrollment, to help with reputation, and to also help with fundraising too. We're a public university, a public law school, so anywhere where we can get support, we appreciate it.
And Cal, you're obviously into this stuff.
Yeah.
And you're very interested in the advertising end of it for sure, right?
Yeah.
and that's because you're driving. Tell, real briefly again, some of the businesses that you're developing.
I have 2 online companies that I'm
Okay.
starting up right now, and one of them it's in the beauty space, but it's more of its direction. It's more of bioengineering in the cosmetic space versus typical cosmetic usage. So it's just a different level of
What do you
formulation.
mean by bioengineering? What do you mean?
Working with RNAs and DNAs, nucleotides, nanoparticle technologies, just different types of engineerings inside of beauty to achieve long-term or more dramatic results.
What got you interested in that?
Well, I work in beauty, and I sell skincare.
So you're
for
really on
11
top of
years
that.
now.
Okay.
Well, I see what's trending, and I know that everyone is trying to bridge in between. Everybody wants injectable results, but how many people are willing to get injections? That drops your percentage onto that, but it leaves a very interested target market. And I saw that nucleotides in high percentages can actually compete with injectable PDRN types of results in long term because genetically it can change your skin to behave younger.
You know, it's
so
funny.
that's
It's funny what you're talking about. It's like I'm experiencing the same thing I experienced 2 weeks ago. I love the fact that the people at Startup Central have their language they speak, and I love the fact the language you're speaking. And I'm always like trying to make sure we define the terms well enough. But you really are in the RNA DNA phase of the beauty
well, I mean,
business,
beauty is evolving, whether we like it or not. Right now, we're injecting DNA from salmon into our skin.
So
because of
your
the
answer
nutrient
is a
properties.
non-injectable form of getting
Correct,
the same
yeah.
results. So
Correct.
That's I love breaking that definition down. It's really
Yeah,
interesting what you're
that's
doing.
exactly what I specialize in work by helping bridge clients in spas, but also to be able to provide you solutions for your own home.
So Bella, is this the kind of is this some of the kind of are you going to cover a wide spectrum of startups? I know that your emphasis seemed to be for startup in manufacturing related things, especially like American-made manufacturing. But does it cover a spectrum like the things that Cal is talking about?
Yeah, the details are still in the works, the specifics there, but we do have that artist space, and we don't want to just lock in on one specific demographic because a lot of people are creatives or artists. I would argue that's a creative endeavor that you're doing.
Oh, it's definitely cooking.
Yeah.
It's cooking.
Yeah, and that sounds amazing. I think that we definitely will prioritize that and having areas that are for other makers who aren't just working with metal, working with wood. Maybe you're a textile artist, maybe you work in beauty, and I think that's something we will definitely focus on.
And Courtney, again, is from the law school perspective of it, there's probably a lot of legal crossovers in terms of Startup Central and Cal's cosmetic industry type startups.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the type of thing that the law school gets interested in just because the law intersects with business
Yeah.
on everything, right?
Yeah.
So how do you see working with, say, Startup Central as what would they be as a resource to you or you as a resource to them?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is like IP and patents, and probably both your works and how you're leveraging that and pursuing that. But I'm not an attorney myself, so I cannot speak on that kind of work.
But you do present the message for it. Gotcha. Okay. John, yeah, as the only official lawyer in the room. Oh, we're coming to the end of the show. I didn't even realize it. This is great. I guess I missed your signal, Alan.
I give you the.
Oh my goodness! See, I'm so focused on the RNA DNA story, I got lost in it, Cal. So
Sorry.
We are that's okay. It's a good thing. We are the older version of Young Reporters. I'm Bob Fishman. I'm so glad for the people who showed up for our show today. You know, it really does come down to who shows up. We have a lot of people who have good intentions, but things happen. They get sick, their schedules change. But we had a great group for this first show. Bob Fishman, Alan Ripa, Bella Dorch, Cal Pooler, Courtney Balson-Kelly, and John Dacey. And we are going to do another version of the show. So keep listening to the Young Reporters on your favorite podcast network. Thank you very much.